if you're in Omar Khan's shoes, who are you extending next? There are several options. My pick might surprise you, but if you have to decide, who do we want to keep in the Steelers uniform for years to come, who would that player be?
Diontae Johnson.
Okay.
I got to pay Diontae Johnson, or I would like to pay Diontae Johnson, because I've seen my offense when he's on the field and when he's not on the field. I've seen how electric he has been to this offense when the ball is in his hands. I've seen this before. So I'm not saying he's an Antonio Brown, but I'm saying he has Antonio Brown playmaking ability. I've seen Devontae Adams, who now is a Las Vegas Raider, lead the league in drops. And since then, he's got paid buku money. I've seen Diontae Johnson lead the league in drops. And since then, so far, a year coming off those drops, he's been Mr. Consistent when it comes down to the wide receiver position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So right now, in my mind, he's the next I will pay if I'm a GM for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay Diontae Johnson because I feel like he's the most valuable guy on the offensive side to this day.
That is a very good pick because he's due only about $3 million and coming off that Pro Bowl season in 2021. He is worth more than that. Now, to say, is he worth as much as a Tyreek Hill, some of the top elite talent?
No.
Probably not quite there, but he's close. Now, this is also integral that the Steelers' young receivers, Chase Claypool, the two rookies, George Pickens, Calvin Austin III, have good seasons, because if the Steelers and Johnson can't reach an agreement, someone is going to pay Diontae Johnson beyond this season. And if he can replicate what he did a year ago, this upcoming season in a contract year, he's going to get paid. And I'm curious to see, I know he ended up showing up to OTAs, but could it be almost a hold-in situation from what we saw with TJ Watt if he wants to get his money now? Or will he decide to play out the final year of his rookie deal, in which case the Steelers could say a year from now, hey, if we can't come to an agreement, we're going to put the franchise tag on you because he is so explosive and so important to the Steelers offense. And he did a great job training with those tennis balls to Ike to improve his focus on catching passes. And that really seemed to work for him, considering the year before in 2020, he did lead the NFL in drops, like you said. Now, having said all of this about Diontae and as important as he is to the Steelers offense, I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction.
Okay.
And this is someone we talk about a lot during the regular season, but we don't really talk a lot about during the offseason. Lock up Chris Boswell. You're talking about one of the most accurate kickers in all of football. He is, in my opinion, the best kicker in football other than Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. But Chris Boswell, 31 years old, and he has been absolutely reliable from 2019 through last season, 92.3% on his field goal kicks. Give him the money that he wants. He's one of the league's best. I'd like to see Chris Boswell in a Steelers uniform for years to come.
Hey, Mark, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. I think Bozzy, just out of everybody on that entire team, he has been Mr. Consistent. He's been one of the guys, or the guy who have kept the Pittsburgh Steelers in games just off of his leg. Bozzy, well, and the only person you can really compare him to is Tucker. I think Tucker kicked that 64-yard field goal against
the record, whatever the record was. Yes,
he kicked a 60-plus field goal, but other than a 60-plus field goal, who's been more consistent than Tuck? It's been Bozzy. So I kind of think, and you hit it on the head, we talk about him, but he don't get much of the national exposure. Yeah, pay Bozzy. And I think that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers would do first before they pay Diontae Johnson. Now Diontae Johnson have to look at this situation in two ways, Mark. He could tell his agent, look, I would like to get paid now. I know I'll be in the medium tier when it comes down to my salary and my pay. So I'll settle for 10 to 12 a year, build my resume, and on my third contract, I would like to get paid like a top tier receiver because I'm going to bet on myself on me building my stats. That's what I think he should do. Now that's on him. Maybe his agent might tell him, hey, look, wait, catch this franchise tag. You ball out this year, the Pittsburgh Steelers or somebody else might pay you in 2 years. But if I'm Diontae, I'm not leaving Pittsburgh. One, we have Mitchell Trubisky, and I think Mitchell Trubisky will start the season. I don't think there will be a rush for Kenny Pickett to be a quarterback. I think Pittsburgh will allow him to sit unless it's super close in training camp between Mitch and Kenny. But from a Diontae Johnson standpoint, if I'm Diontae, I'm going to go ahead and get my money right now. Now I'm going to ask the Pittsburgh Steelers or Diontae, if you listen to our show, go ahead and do what Dak Prescott did. Get all your money up front. Don't worry about the world. Don't worry about what the world is saying in your salary. Come back 3 or 4 years from now, build your resume, then you're going to hit the big bank. So that's what I would do if I'm Diontae Johnson. But getting back to Boswell, I think Boswell should be the number one priority, Mark. I agree with you on this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I do think they will get the job done before the season starts with Boswell before Diontae Johnson.
Yeah, let's get them both, Ike. And with Diontae Johnson, one thing too, though, and let me play devil's advocate here. If he does decide to play out the final year of his rookie deal and he doesn't want to renegotiate in advance to his final year of his rookie deal coming up, maybe he sees, okay, what does Mitch Trubisky bring to the table? What does Kenny Pickett bring to the table at the quarterback position? Because it is going to be different now that Big Ben's not back there at the quarterback position, which we've had for the last 18 seasons in Pittsburgh. So see what they bring to the table from a quarterback position, and maybe you have better chemistry with one quarterback than the other. That's honestly, like, Ike, we're going to talk a lot about the quarterback battle between now and week 1 of the 2022 season. But one of the things I'm going to be watching is what kind of rapport do the quarterbacks have with each respective receiver. And that's different for every individual player. And that's honestly one of the biggest things that I'm going to be watching when the preseason starts here in August.
Yeah, I think all of us will be watching. 7, when I say 7, I'm talking about future Hall of Famer, Big Ben. 7 been under center for the Pittsburgh organization for a long time. So it's going to be different watching those two, but there will be a battle between Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky. I just think personally, Mitchell Trubisky, now that the grass is greener from him, not even from a franchise, but from a personnel standpoint, a wide receiver standpoint, offensive line standpoint, a running back, tight end standpoint, and of course a defense standpoint. Other than the first year he did play with a solid defense with the Chicago Bears. I think that was Khalil Mack first year as well, coming from free agent. But other than that, though, the grass is greener for Mitchell Trubisky, so time will tell. I do think he has all the tools to make it happen. But if it's close, I think Coach T pretty much said it in a nutshell. If it's close, they just going to give it to the kid. And the kid, I mean Kenny Pickett in training camp, if it's close between those two. But, yeah, man, I do agree with you, Mark, 100%. Go ahead and pay Boswell, Chris Boswell. Chris Boswell is not going to hit you in the pocket as much as Diontae Johnson. Get him out of the way, and let's see if we can work something out with Diontae after we pay Chris.
Before we get to Larry Ogunjobi, with the last point I want to make about Boswell is you don't want to goof around playing roulette with the kicker, Ike, because late in the season, when you absolutely need a field goal like 50 and in all honesty, like, you've got to be nearly automatic in this league. And you don't want to jeopardize that of someone who has been so reliable when you need him time and time and time again. And a lot of times we talk about how the weather gets colder in Pittsburgh on the open end of the stadium at Heinz Field when the wind blows, and you have a kicker who's accustomed to that in Chris Boswell. To me, don't goof around with that at all. That's why I picked him, to where it's just like, he's the guy I want the Steelers to lock up for the next several years because he's been so consistent.
Well, Mark, he's a closer. It's just like baseball. You catch a few good closers in baseball, and you're like, dang, why is they paying this guy so much money and he's only pitching maybe 2 max innings for a couple of games, every 3 or 4 games, because he's winning these ball games for us and he's closing the game out. That's Boswell. Like, you're taking points. If you don't sign Boswell, basically you're taking points off the board, because over the course of a couple of years, that's exactly what he's been doing. He's been giving you points when your offense was so and okay and your defense wound up balling. So, yeah, I agree with you 100% about Boswell.